On the toolbar, you can flip between pencil, which is one color. It's like a nearest neighbor color. If you work with pencil, there we are, and you can flip to the brush tool, which is very soft and very bicubic. Now with the pencil tool, you can change your size of your brush here by going back and forth, but you always have one color with the pencil tool. With the brush tool, you can also change the size of your brush with the bracket keys. You see, size of your brush. You can change the opacity up here too when you're working. You can make it lighter. See? And the flow of your brush, because there's a lot of, you can make it go fast or slow, because there are a lot of airbrush tools in your brush toolbox, and you find your brush controls right here with this little down pointing arrow. You see, this is where you would manually change it instead of using the bracket keys on your keyboard. Now here are some different brushes already programmed into Photoshop. Some of these are harder. Put the opacity back up and the flow back up. See? Some of these then go into a softer brush, much softer brush. And some of these are very, here's little like a watercolory brush here. They have very special effects on them, very nice. So you really should spend some time and go into these brushes and explore them. There's a lot of brush special effects in here, see? There's like kind of flowers on this brush. That's because you can make a brush literally out of anything that you have in Photoshop. Here's a little kind of a spiral tool brush. And if you don't see these brushes in your brush submenu, see this little shape here? If you don't see these, you can get some of these brushes on by clicking this submenu, and you have assorted, basic, dry media, faux finish, special effects, square brushes, wet media, and when you click on any of these brushes from your Photoshop library, it asks you, here I'll click on one, if you want to replace them or you want to append them. So I picked cancel because I have many of the brushes already up. Here's a little butterfly brush. Click on the butterflies here. There's all kinds of special sponge brushes, special effect brushes. So you actually can go in. I'm going to go in with this pencil tool to show you. I'll make it very small here, and I'll kind of make this shape, and I'll pull this out here, pull this out here, pull this out here, and I'll say okay, I want to make a brush out of this. So I go up here to define a brush preset, and here's my brush number 4, and you will always find your new brush at the very end. So I click on my brush tool, I hit this, and I go to the very bottom of the menu, and there it is. There's my brush. So I can either click, click, click and have my brush, or I can drag my brush around. So that's how you create your own library of personal brushes. Now I'm going to back up, and I'm going to put a white in the background, and I will get rid of some of these, and I'm going to make a circle here with the marquee, and I will drop a color in it, deselect, and then I will select a kind of a blackish color, and I will get one of my brushes. I will make a new layer, and I will go here in my brushes, about here, I will look for some of my airbrushes. Here's an airbrush, soft round, and it's 17, but I'm going to make it much bigger, and I'm going to pull the opacity down and the flow down, and this is something you should experiment with. I'm going to select the green ball and go on an empty layer and pick my airbrush, and that's how I'll go down more on my opacity and my flow, and I'll go around the edge. I still have it too high, and I'll make it even bigger. See, and this is how you kind of work and you kind of play to try to work your airbrush. And if you get too much dark, you can go to your eraser and you can pull the opacity way down and the flow way down on your eraser and make the brush very big. And you can kind of use your eraser like an airbrush in reverse. So you can take some of the color out that way. And you can work from your color to removing some of your color and pull it down even more when you're fading in. And when you're all done, you deselect, and you can, here's to show you, I'm going to show you what the shadow looks like. See, that's the shadow you've done. And if you really like the effect that you've made, then you can merge down your layer. Now this is very good when you're doing fashion layouts and you want to give a three-dimensional effect to a top, a shirt, or a skirt, or even the model, to do it on the edges of the skin, on the arms and the legs. And this way you can add this shadow to give it a three-dimensional look using the airbrush.